Yo, how's it going? Back to the video, and today I'm going to be talking about why the Phoenix Suns have to win now, and this is really their last chance of a legit finals contending run, in my opinion. Now, I'm going to be getting to a few logistical reasons and a few, of my own reasons why I personally think that the Phoenix Suns are coming to the end of this championship window that they've had for the past 3 to 4 years. So if that does sound interesting to you, please hit like button, subscribe button, watch it all the way through, and also comment below if you find anything in this video interesting. But without further ado, without running on too much, let's get right into this video. Alright, so the first thing I really want to get in the first video is going to be really the logisticals of their salary situation they are currently in. If you look at their salary for the next 3 years, they are paying Devin Booker $33, $36, and $48 million. And then if you look at Deandre Aiden, who just got a ginormous contract over the next 3 years, Deandre Aiden is making $31, $32.5, and $34 million. So that's already a ton of money they have locked up between just 2 players. And then if you add Chris Paul into that equation, Chris Paul is making $30 million each for the next 3 years. And that is just their top 3 players on their roster. If you keep going down, it keeps getting more and more. Because if you give Mikal Bridges, he is making $20, $22, and $23 million for the next 3 years as well. And when you have that much money wrapped up in just 4 players, they are going to struggle to add a lot of role players and to be able to retain a lot of those role players. This problem is going to become very apparent very quickly after this season, because the only the only role player they have locked up for multiple years that actually affects this team is Cameron Payne, who still has 2 years left on his contract. That is the only player you have locked up for a long time outside of Landry Shamet for a long term, and Landry Shamet is already very overpaid. So out of the 2 guys you have locked up, one of them is extremely overpaid in my opinion, but they still have extremely important players like Jay Crowder, Dario Saric, Cam Johnson, Torrey Craig, Okogie, Bismack Biyombo, all on expiring deals going to this year, and a few of them, like Cameron Johnson, are going to cost them a lot of money to keep them around. So in my opinion, this is the last chance to contend with this team, because yes, they are still probably going to be a very solid team going into the years coming. I don't think they're going to stay at a contending level, because if you pay Cameron Johnson, you're pretty much at the salary cap at that point with only just 5 players on your roster, and then you have to get a whole bunch of minimum level guys, and I don't think players like Jay Crowder are going to take a minimum, or Torrey Craig is going to take a minimum. Even Bismack Biyombo might not take a minimum. So it is going to be very hard to keep all these guys around and replace them with equally talented players. It is going to be almost impossible unless they can do something wizard-like with the salary cap in the future. And to really make things worse, I'm going to get into it a little bit more later in this video, but Jay Crowder doesn't even want to play for the Suns right now because he's no longer starting. He's kind of being a drama queen about it. So their whole salary situation is going to be made much worse, because Jay Crowder, it seems like, although he's on an expiring deal and the Phoenix Suns have been very good, he's not going to be taking no type of discount if the Suns want to keep him around, because they done pissed him off. So I think for sure this salary situation is just getting worse and worse by the day, and I cannot see them being able to really recover after this season and become a contending level team due to how much money they have wrapped up in all of their best players on this roster. And now the second thing I really want to get in this video is going to be that they're kind of at their team's ceiling at this point, because look at all the things that they can possibly do to make their team better. At this point, they cannot sign any big needle-moving free agents due to all their money being tied up to their big names on their roster. They have very small levels of internal improvement, as Chris Paul at this point is only getting older and worse. Devin Booker's already a superstar, but how much better can Devin Booker really get at this point? Mikal Bridges is 26 years old, about to enter his prime, and although he's a very good defender and a very good player, he's pretty much what he is at this point. He's not going to get any better, and he's probably not going to get worse anytime soon. This is probably the best Mikal Bridges you're ever going to get. Deandre Aiden, although he is a top 10 center, he's a very traditional center how he plays. Yes, he can spread the floor a little bit, but he's mainly a traditional back to the basket center, and although he's very good at it, how much better can he get at this point unless he adds an elite 3-pointer, which is going to be very hard to do. And for this season, or at least for the foreseeable future, Deandre Aiden's basically where he's going to be at for the rest of his career. And when Deandre Aiden, Chris Paul, and Mikal Bridges are all pretty much already at their ceiling, and those are the main impact players on their roster, it's going to be very hard for them to be able to really do anything, and the only way for them to really do anything is to trade one of those players, and Mikal Bridges and Jay Crowder are probably the only two players that they can really trade and maybe get another player. But is any team really going to trade an all-star level player for Jay Crowder and Mikal Bridges? Probably not, and it's going to be very hard to get anything out of it. And then they're definitely not going to be able to improve that much through the draft, because they're always going to be drafting late in the draft as well. So the Suns are kind of stuck. Like, if they can't win this year, they're probably never going to be able to win with this roster, because this is basically as good as it's going to get. Now, yes, there's very minimal improvements you can make, maybe from a system perspective, maybe from a development perspective. There's going to be a very small, minute improvement, but nothing that's going to move the needle so much to the point to where they become finals favorites or anything like that, and make them significantly better, at least coming in this very near future, because the season's starting very, very soon. So I think the Suns are in a weird situation where you have to keep this roster to see if you can win with it. But if you can't win with it, you're going to have to probably blow it up, because it's never going to get better than what it is right now, at least with the current players that you have on it. And now the third kind of thing I want to reveal is going to be that they're not in a good place when it comes to like team morale and things like that. Deandre Aiden was going to leave the Suns because he was already well known that Aiden was upset with the front office for not offering him a max straight up. He had to accept the max from the Indiana Pacers. The Suns then matched it, and then bada bing, bada boom, now he's back on the roster. But from a morale perspective, Deandre Aiden seeing it like, why wouldn't have you just paid me the max from the jump? We would have never had this situation, and it probably pissed him off a good bit. And there's been reports that he has not been happy, and now with this whole owner thing, it's just making things worse. And now we look at Jay Crowder, he's throwing a fit because he's not being able to start as a veteran, and Cameron Johnson starting over him, he's throwing a fit, he doesn't even want to practice for them, and it's just a big thing. And I don't think this team is where it needs to be at a morale standpoint. I don't think it's improved enough to become a finals contender, and I don't think they're getting any better anytime soon, and I just don't like where they are in a salary situation either. So it's either win now or they're never winning with this roster. So I think for sure this is Chris Paul and the Phoenix Suns' last chance at a finals, pretty much probably for the rest of Chris Paul's career and for a very long time for the Phoenix Suns. But unfortunately, guys, that's me for this video. So comment below, do you agree with me? Do you think that the Phoenix Suns, this is their last chance? Do you think they can kind of reload going into next season if this isn't the year? I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe button, it means the absolute word to me. And I hope you have a blessed day. Have a blessed day. So you have a blessed day. All glory to God. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah.